What is going on, guys? In today's video I will show you the best endgame sword with shield and dagger build in Throne and Liberty. So in this guide I will show you a fully maxed setup with the best possible tier 1 gear, trades, masteries, skill rotations and everything else. And the best part about this is that for every single build choice I will explain my reasons, also how and where to get this powerful gear, and just overall you will be able to see what a fully maxed tier 1 character will look like, and what at the endgame you can achieve as well. So if you want to use the best build in the game, then let's get right into it. This setup is an agile evasion tank with amazing AoV damage. We will be incredibly tanky thanks to skills like the counter barrier, while also being able to dish out a big damage with cleaving moonlight and the thunderclouds bombing. Overall this build has really good CC, as well really high mobility, high AoV DPS and most importantly with low cooldowns. So if you want to be evasion tank that can hold enemies aggro but can also do huge amount of DPS, then this is the build for you. So let's move over to the setup. For the choice of weapons we are going with a sword and a shield and a dagger. And first of all we have our skills. So for defensive skill we use the shield survival technique. While for active skills we get the cleaving moonlight, brutal incision, knife throwing, a shot at victory, inject venom, provoking roar, counter barrier, chain hook, stalwart bastion, strategic crush, shadow strike and the shield strike. As you can see from the gameplay, I don't have all of the same skill icons on my bar. It is because the skill icons will change depending on our specialization setup. So our brutal incision will turn into the thunderclouds bombing, then the knife throwing will turn into the lightning throw, then the inject venom will turn into the lightning infusion, and finally shield strike will turn into the piercing strike. Then for passives we want to go with Destructive Fang, Assassin's Instincts, Wrathful Edge, Spectrum of Agony, Resilient Mind, Morale Boost, Impenetrable and Shadow Walker. As for skill upgrade priority, for active skills we mainly want to focus on the Cleaving Moonlight, Shield Survival Technique, Shield Strike, Counter Barrier and Inject Venom. While for passive skills we focus on the Wrathful Edge, Shadow Walker, Spectrum of Agony, Destructive Fang and Assassin's Instincts. And then for the rest of your skills, they're not as important, so just upgrade them as you progress through the game. Also, remember to always upgrade all of your skills to blue first before moving on to the purple. Next we have the skill specialization, and for the Cleaving Moonlight, select the consecutive use, effect accumulation and attack speed increase. Then for the knife throwing, get the lightning throw. Then for inject venom, get the lightning infusion and effect duration increase. For counter barrier, get the cooldown and damage increase. For stalwart bastion, get the movement speed increase. Then for shadow strike, don't get anything. Then for brutal incision, get the thunderclouds bombing and cooldown reduction. Then for a shot of victory, get the skill effect enhanced and effect duration. For provoking roar, get the effect duration and cooldown reduction. For chain hook, get the skill distance increased. Then for strategic crush, don't get anything. And finally for the shield strike, get the piercing strike. Next we have the weapon mastery, and this is how it should look like for the sword and shield. So take a look at the middle and get only the skillful block. Then now go to the bottom and get that entire row. And then afterwards go to the top and get everything from melee defense until the impregnable stance. And then again, this is how it should look like for the dagger. So you again start in the middle and get that entire row. And then again go to the bottom and get everything there as well. Next, let's take a look at our gear. And if you are looking for a full green or blue gear setup, then I recommend for you to watch my previous build videos. So first off, we're using the Karnix Nether Blade with traits like the hit chance, heavy attack chance and critical hit chance. All gear should be at its max level and you can get it from the Death's Abyss. Next we have Licorious Wicked Thorns with hit chance, heavy attack chance and critical hit chance. You can get it from the Cave of Destruction. Next we have Visor of the Infernal Herald with max health, melee evasion and ranged evasion. You can get it from the Death's Abyss. Next we have Supreme Devotion with mana regen, skill damage resistance and debuff duration. You can get it from the Cave of Destruction. Next we have Plate of the Field General with max health, melee evasion and ranged evasion. You can get it from the Death's Abyss. Next we have Gauntlets of the Infernal Herald with mana regen, melee evasion and ranged evasion. You can get it by defeating the Avolus Pyromancer. Next we have Breaches of the Executioner with magic evasion, ranged evasion, and debuff duration. You can get it by defeating the Abyssal Spectre. Next we have Sabotons of the Field General with melee evasion, ranged evasion, and movement speed. As we are using 2 pieces of the Imperator set, so you will get plus 150 heavy attack chance, and you can get it by defeating the Dark Wizard. Next up we have the Clasp of the Conqueror with max health, skill damage boost, and buff duration. You can only get it by opening purple armor chests. Next we have Ancient Saurodoma Bracers with mana regen, skill damage resistance, and debuff duration. You can get it from the Tyrant's Isle. Next we have Amber Dimensional Band with max health, skill damage boost, and buff duration. You can get it by opening all kinds of purple accessory chests. Next we have Band of the Universal Power with max mana, skill damage boost, and buff duration. Again, the same as other rings, you can get it from the purple armor chests. And finally, we have the Belt of the Endless Slaughter with max health, skill damage resistance, and debuff duration. You can get it from the Butcher's Canyon. Last but not least, if at this current moment you only have blue gear, then don't worry, because that gear doesn't really matter, and you will soon enough start changing it for the purple pieces. The setup that I showed is the best current gear that anyone can farm. No matter what gear you choose, this build will still work fine, but this setup is just an example of what the best of the best items will look like. Next up, let's take a look at our gear upgrades. This game doesn't have a very typical gear progression, so by this I mean that you will have to upgrade pretty much anything you get. So you'll go from grey to green to blue and finally to purple. No matter at which stage of progression you're watching this video, just keep upgrading your equipment to their max level. And then when you get better gear, just transfer the experience from the old one to the new one. And as for my gear recommendations, when you reach level 50, just farm accessible gear by doing open world dungeons. Also, you want to extract traits from gear for Lucent. On top of that, you will need to turn important purple gear that you don't use into lithographs, and then sell them on the auction house. Last but not least, for your traits, just prioritize the ones that give you the highest damage. And don't forget that you can acquire new traits by using the trait unlock stone. Next up we have the stats, and depending on your gear, you should adjust them accordingly. The goal for your endgame build is to reach 60 strength, 40 dexterity, 30 wisdom, and 40 perception. All of these milestones will give us extremely high damage and survivability. Next we have our Guardian choice, and this creature is a special transformation that can add offensive or defensive buffs to your character for 30 seconds. And for our build, the best option is the Shade Revenant Steno. This Guardian launches projectiles every second that can crit and heavy attack. Since our build is super tanky, so this is a great way where we can get easy and high damage. This is the best Guardian in the game for dealing damage, and for PvE, damage is all that really matters. So this is our best choice. And now finally we have come to the gameplay. At the start I will show you a bunch of different rotations, and then at the end I will summarize your overall playstyle and what you want to keep on doing. So the first rotation is the opening combo, which we start by using the Lightning Infusion, then the Shadow Strike, then Provoking Roar, then Lightning Throw, then Piercing Strike, then Cleaving Moonlight once, then a Shout at Victory, then Cleaving Moonlight for the second time, and now we finish it off with the Thunderclouds Bombing. This rotation is designed to taunt the boss as soon as possible, and then extend that duration with multi-hit skills, and then use a bunch of our burst damage quickly. Then next we have our main DPS rotation, which we can start by using the Lightning Infusion, then Cleaving Moonlight once, then Lightning Throw, then Piercing Strike, then Cleaving Moonlight for the second time, and then again we finish it off with the Thunderclouds Bombing. For all rotations we want to use the Cleaving Moonlight only twice, because activating it for the third time will remove the buff, which of course we don't want to happen. Overall, this DPS rotation is built around giving us buffs and stacking 20 Thundercloud stacks, so then in return we can do big damage. Then next we have our aggro generation combo, which we start by using the Piercing Strike, then the Shield Throw, then Chain Hook, and then we finish it off with the Provoking Roar. These are your skills that you want to keep on using, so you would keep holding the boss's aggro. Without high enough threat, the boss will attack whoever is doing the most damage, so in between your DPS rotations, don't forget about it. And now finally we have our defensive options, which are the Shield Survival Technique, then Counter Barrier, and also the Stalwart Bastion. Your main way of self-sustain when doing dungeons is the perfect blocking Fury attacks, but these also could be helpful to use when your teammates get in trouble. Overall, when you're running dungeons, it's your job to gather mobs for the other DPS players. Also, try to be at the front and take care of any stragglers by repositioning them with the chain hook. On top of that, save your shield survival technique or blocking fury attacks. Spamming your block will result in an empty stamina bar, which will cause you to take more damage in the long run. The benefits of blocking fury attacks will outweigh the damage you take from other types of attacks, so keep this in mind. And that's about it. So if you enjoyed this video, click like, subscribe and comment. If you're interested in more content, then check out my channel and I will see you in the next one. So take it easy, peace.